In this video, we'll learn about the tool and region. 6. This tool, just like Region 3, is a motion detection tool. However, with higher sensitivity and settings. First, let's open the Vimum software. We'll open a module from Camera 1 as an example. Connect the camera. We'll wait for it to connect. Once connected, we'll check here about Tool 6. As we can see, Tool 6 lets us draw and analyze up to 10 regions simultaneously on the image. Let's access Region 6A here as an example. As we can see, Region 6 has the Draw button, the Start button, the Stop button, and the Analysis interval, which usually comes here as preset to 500 milliseconds. Toggle. Sensitivity. The number of video frames it uses for the calculation. And the multiplication factor. The multiplication factor is extremely correlated with the sensitivity. Multiplies the sensitivity. So if I change the sensitivity value to 100 here, and set the multiplication factor to 4, then my sensitivity will be 400. The higher I set it here, it multiplies my sensitivity. Let's keep the default for now. Let's start a drawing here. We'll analyze this area like Region 3 and spot differences. By clicking on the dot here, I can curve the frame and we'll analyze this safety region here. An unsafe region close to the moving parts of the machine. We'll start the analysis here. As we can see, the movement value here is a value from 0 to 1000. And I can set alarm values here, meaning, for example, the operator passed here. We notice the value went up to 192 with this programmed sensitivity. We can set the alarm value here, for example, above 150. Up to 1000, the output result will be positive or negative. In other words, we can set values. To better control the sensitivity. As we can see, the movement exceeded 150 and the value went to 1. Let's check the operation here at 170. The value went to 1, meaning because the paper is being passed here in this region. And it's exceeding the value here. If we stop and move it over here, we have a region with less paper access. Restart. The operator reached the region. He's paused. He moved. It went over 150 and dropped to 1. Okay, how does the bottom part work? Let's stop here and redesign. Let's redesign, for example, the region where the paper is passing. We'll curve it. As we can see, we'll start. We can observe in this case that the machine in operation. The movement varies more or less in this region. Down here, what we have is a dynamic calculation. How does this dynamic calculation work? Calculates the moving average of the last analyses. In our case, it's set to 10. So, in the last 10 analyses, it will calculate the moving average. We can set a value here, like 10. So if the movement value here exceeds 10 points above the moving average, the result here will be 1. In this case, if the machine ripples, for example, it might indicate that the paper is wavy because the value here rises. So this tool can also be used for production because it can identify dynamic alarms within the value. Let's see an example here. Look, a ripple passed. The value exceeded 45 of change, and the value went to 1 as. The ripple starts appearing here. So Tool 6 is a movement tool, but much more sensitive. Let's say we multiply by 20. So the values here are multiplied by movement in our case now. It increased a lot because the operator is passing through this area. Wait for the machine to return to normal operation and analyze, again with greater sensitivity. The machine returning to operation. The moving average will be established after 10 analyses. And here we have the moving average. We can set a value here, for example, every. That is, if the current value exceeds the moving average plus. If it exceeds 60, it'll be 1. Let's try to identify the maximum value obtained here. Around 30. The moving average is 200, around 200 now. When it exceeds 30, the value here hits 1. As we can see, there was a high ripple here, and the value went to 1. This way, we can accurately set up the identification of movements with Tool 6.